The desert planet of Arian 3 was silent in the early morning, except for the soft wind that moved the orange sand. For many years, humans had used this small world as a research outpost. It was calm, isolated, and far from any trouble. No one expected danger here, and no one imagined a war would begin with something as simple as a child wandering too far from camp. But that was exactly how it started. A young human boy named Eli was exploring the outer edge of the base. He wore a small spacesuit that made him look like a tiny astronaut. His brown hair peeked out from the edges of his helmet, and his small boots left light footprints across the sand. Eli was curious, more curious than most adults on the base. Everything about this planet excited him. The rocks, the broken metal from old research machines, and the strange tracks made by creatures that lived underground. For Eli, this place felt like an adventure. For everyone else, it was simply the middle of nowhere. Eli did not notice when he moved past the safe zone. He was too busy following a strange pattern in the sand. They looked like claw marks but small, as if some wild animal had walked in circles. Eli followed them until he saw the creature that made them. It was a honey badger, not an alien creature, not some monster from another world. A normal honey badger from Earth, brought years ago for biological study, then somehow lost in the wild. Honey badgers were known for one thing: they feared nothing. Eli smiled when he saw it. The honey badger looked rough and dirty, but its eyes were sharp and alive. It stood strong, as if guarding the ground itself. Eli slowly crouched down. "Hey, I won't hurt you," he whispered. The honey badger stared back at him, sniffing the air. It did not move away. Instead, it took one step closer. Eli gently placed his hand out, not touching, just showing he meant no harm. The honey badger watched him again, then relaxed just enough to stop showing its teeth. This was the peaceful moment, the last peaceful moment, before everything changed. Far above the planet, something moved in the sky. A shadow crossed the sunlight. A strange ship, long and curved like the body of an insect, silently descended. No human radar detected it. No defense system reacted. The ship dropped toward the planet like a falling blade. These were the Croctor, a race of alien hunters who believed humans were dangerous creatures that must never be allowed to grow strong. To them, humans were unpredictable and full of potential chaos. When they learned humans had spread into deep space, they saw it as a threat. And so they came to Arian 3 to send a message. The first sign of danger was the deep thud that shook the sand. Eli turned, confused. The honey badger growled, its fur rising. Another thud followed, louder, closer, like giant footsteps hitting the ground. The sky darkened for a moment as the alien ship cast a shadow over the desert. Eli gasped. He stepped back as three tall alien figures landed near the broken research dome not far from him. Their bodies were thin but strong, with green armor plates covering their skin. Their legs bent backward like insects, and their glowing eyes searched the area. They carried long spear-like weapons that hummed with energy. The honey badger hissed, baring its teeth. Eli had seen aliens only in books and screens before. He had never imagined they would land right in front of him. He did not know what they wanted. He only knew they were frightening. One of the aliens pointed at him. A sharp clicking sound came from its throat, almost like a command. Eli froze. He could not run. His small legs felt weak, and he was too far from the base for anyone to hear him. The honey badger stood between him and the aliens. It refused to move. The aliens stepped closer. Their weapons clicked and charged with energy. They did not see Eli as a child or a lost explorer. To them, he was a target, something that needed to be removed. The honey badger, however, saw something completely different. It saw a threat to the small human who had shown it kindness. Its growl deepened and its body lowered, ready to strike. Honey badgers did not care about size, danger, or fear. If something threatened their territory or their companion, they attacked. The aliens did not understand this. One alien raised its weapon toward Eli. The honey badger leaped forward with sudden, violent speed. It bit into the alien's armored leg, causing the creature to shriek and stumble. Another alien kicked the honey badger, but it did not stop. It clawed and bit with wild force. Eli took several steps back, shaking. He wanted to sprint back to the base, scream for help, anything, but he could not leave the honey badger alone. He felt a sharp pull in his chest, a mix of fear and responsibility. More aliens came from the ship. They spread across the sand, moving in lines like hunters closing on their prey. They thought this mission would be simple, but nothing about humans was simple, and nothing about a honey badger was ever safe. The honey badger roared again, a small roar but full of rage. It struck one alien's hand, making the weapon fall and sink into the sand. The aliens clicked in frustration, not expecting such resistance from an animal so small. Eli looked behind him. The base was far, too far. The dust from the alien ship was rising, making the air thick. He needed to move. He needed to live long enough to warn everyone. But one alien cut him off, stepping directly in front of him. Its tall shadow fell over the sand and over his small form. It raised its weapon again. The honey badger jumped between them, standing over Eli as if protecting its own child. The alien hesitated for the first time. This creature was too fearless, too aggressive, too human almost. A loud roar in the distance broke the moment, not from any animal, not from any human, but from the engines of the human base's emergency transport speeding toward the sound of conflict. The aliens turned their heads. The honey badger growled louder. Eli's heart pounded. And in that brief, tense moment, the war that no one expected truly began. The emergency transport from the human base rushed across the desert, lifting clouds of sand behind it. Inside the vehicle, Commander Hale held the controls tight. He had received a strange signal from the outer zone, a short alert, a burst of noise, and then silence. The silence worried him more than anything. Outposts did not simply go quiet unless something was wrong. Beside him sat two security officers, both tense and ready. They scanned the horizon, searching for the source of the disturbance. None of them imagined they were heading toward a scene that would change the future of the entire colony. Back near the crash site, Eli still stood behind the honey badger. The small creature growled and hissed, refusing to step aside even as more aliens surrounded them. The aliens had expected fear. They had expected the boy to collapse or cry, but they did not expect resistance from a wild animal that looked too small to matter. One alien made a quick motion with its hand. Two others formed a half-circle around Eli, trying to trap him. The honey badger lunged at the nearest alien again, claws scraping across armor. The alien stumbled, frustrated. These creatures were hunters, but their training did not include dealing with fearless animals that behaved like living blades. Eli felt his breathing become fast and sharp. His feet shook. His body wanted to run, but he knew running now would expose him to the aliens behind him. He could only stay close to the honey badger and hope help arrived soon. The aliens clicked their weapons on, tiny sparks of blue energy forming near the tips. One alien lifted its weapon higher, aiming at the honey badger first. They wanted to remove the threat. They thought it would be easy. But the honey badger leaped again, its jaws locking around the alien's wrist. The alien shouted in its strange, clicking language, shaking its arm violently. The honey badger refused to let go. It twisted its body with force, pulling the alien off balance. The weapon fell from its hand and rolled across the sand. Eli saw it land near him. He swallowed hard. He did not know how to use alien weapons. He did not even know how to hold one. But something inside him said he needed to try. He crawled toward it carefully while the honey badger kept the aliens busy. But before he could reach it, one alien noticed him and kicked the weapon away. The weapon slid far across the sand, glowing faintly. Eli froze again. He felt small and helpless, but he refused to give up. The alien closest to Eli raised its weapon. Its glowing eyes narrowed. It stepped forward to strike. Suddenly, a loud warning shot blasted through the air. A flash of human blue fire shot from the direction of the base. The alien jerked back, surprised. The emergency transport slid to a stop several meters away, and Commander Hale jumped out with his officers. Their rifles were already charged. Hale's voice boomed through the desert. "Step away from the boy." The aliens turned, their attention shifting from Eli to the incoming humans. They had planned for a fast mission, not a fight. The honey badger backed up just enough to stand next to Eli again. Eli felt safer the moment he saw the human soldiers, but the danger was still rising. There were more aliens now than he could count. Hale's eyes widened when he saw Eli standing with the honey badger. "Eli," he shouted. "Stay down and don't move." Eli nodded quickly. One of the aliens made a sharp sound, and several of them advanced toward Hale's team. The humans fired warning shots, hitting the sand near the aliens' feet. The aliens moved faster, spreading out like a hunting pack. The officers took defensive positions. The air crackled with alien energy weapons and human rifle fire. Blue and green flashes clashed, lighting the desert floor. Hale fired shot after shot, forcing two aliens to fall back. But there were too many of them, and more were climbing out of the ship in the distance. Eli watched all of this while crouching near the honey badger. He wanted to stand and run to Hale, but the honey badger pressed its body against him, refusing to let him move. It was protecting him even now. One alien broke away from the fight and charged straight toward Eli again. Hale saw it but was too far to stop it. Eli felt his heart slam inside his chest. The alien jumped toward him, raising its sharp weapon. The honey badger launched forward with a roar, hitting the alien across the chest and biting deep into its armor. The alien fell backward, sand flying around them. The honey badger attacked with even more fury than before. Eli had never seen anything move so fast. The small creature fought like it was defending its whole planet. The alien desperately attempted to shake it off, but the honey badger held on. Eli watched with wide eyes, amazed and terrified at the same time. Hale finally reached Eli, pulling him back with one arm. "Are you hurt?" he asked quickly. "I'm okay," Eli whispered, breathing fast. "But they were trying to take me." Hale's face hardened. "They won't." The honey badger won its struggle and released the injured alien, backing toward Eli again. Hale looked at the animal with disbelief. "Is that really a honey badger?" Eli nodded. "It saved me." Hale had no time to process that. More aliens were advancing, and the situation was becoming worse. Dust clouds rose from the alien ship as another group prepared to join the fight. Hale signaled his officers, "Fall back to the transport, keep the boy behind you." The team began to pull back while firing to slow the alien advance. The honey badger stayed right at Eli's side, growling at anything that moved. Eli kept glancing around, trying to understand how such a normal-looking creature could be so fearless. As the humans retreated toward the transport, one alien made a leap toward the officer on the left. The attack forced the humans to change direction and scatter. The aliens were fast and well-trained. They wanted to isolate the humans the same way they had tried to isolate Eli. The honey badger suddenly ran forward, biting into the alien's foot, giving the officer a chance to escape. Eli watched the scene in shock. The creature moved like a storm, small but unstoppable. But then something else happened. The ground vibrated, the air shifted. A deeper sound echoed through the desert. The alien mothership high above the clouds was activating something. Hale looked up. Eli looked up. The honey badger growled at the sky. The war that started over a small boy and a wild creature was about to grow even larger, and no one on the planet was ready for what was coming next. The deep sound from the sky grew stronger, vibrating through the ground like a warning. It was not the soft hum of an engine. It was something heavier, older, and full of purpose. Everyone on the battlefield felt it, even the aliens, who stopped their advance for a moment and looked up with tense, focused eyes. High above the clouds, the alien mothership glowed with shifting green lights. A wave of energy pulsed from its center and spread across the sky like a rippling curtain. The air grew colder. The wind slowed. The entire desert seemed to hold its breath. Commander Hale tightened his grip on Eli's arm, pulling the boy behind him while he pointed his rifle toward the sky. He did not understand what the mothership was doing, but he knew enough to feel fear in his bones. The aliens on the ground suddenly changed their formation. They moved back from the humans, regrouping as if preparing for a new phase of the attack. Eli felt the honey badger press close to his leg, its small but powerful body vibrating with a low growl. It sensed danger long before humans could. Its eyes never left the mothership, and its claws dug into the sand as if preparing for something terrible. A bright beam shot from the mothership, not toward the humans but toward the alien soldiers below. The beam hit the ground with a flash of green light, and a wave of energy expanded rapidly. Eli covered his eyes. Hale stepped in front of him, shielding him with his body. When the light faded, something new stood among the aliens. A much larger alien figure, twice their size, emerged from the glowing circle. Its armor was darker, thicker, and covered with sharp edges like hardened bone. Its eyes glowed brighter than the others, almost white instead of green. This alien looked like a commander, a leader, or perhaps something even worse. The aliens on the ground bowed their heads to it. Hale whispered under his breath, "What are we dealing with now?" The towering alien scanned the battlefield, its gaze moving slowly until it locked onto Eli. It tilted its head and made a low clicking sound that seemed to vibrate through the air. Eli felt cold fear wash over him. He did not know what the alien wanted, but its focus on him was too strong. He felt like prey being examined by a predator. The honey badger stepped forward, placing itself between Eli and the towering alien. It growled with so much force that even Hale glanced down at it with surprise. For a small creature, its voice carried far. The tall alien made another clicking sound. The smaller aliens responded immediately, forming a new formation and preparing to strike again. Hale shouted to his officers, "Protect the boy at all costs. Get ready, this is going to get worse." The officers took defensive positions, firing at the aliens as they advanced. The tall alien moved forward calmly, unaffected by the chaos. It stepped through dust, fire, and falling debris with slow, confident motions. Every step felt like a countdown. Eli clung to Hale's vest. "Why do they want me?" he whispered. Hale shook his head. "I don't know. But we won't let them take you." The battle grew more violent. Human rifle fire clashed with alien energy blasts, lighting the desert floor with sharp flashes of blue and green. The honey badger darted across the sand, attacking any alien that got too close to Eli. It bit their legs, scratched their armor, and refused to let anyone near him. But the tall alien was different. It watched the honey badger with cold interest, as if studying it. Then it raised one of its long arms and pointed. Eli felt the ground shake again. A pulse of green energy spread from the tall alien's body, knocking 2 human officers to the ground. Hale barely stayed on his feet. The honey badger slid back several feet, scratching the sand to regain balance. The tall alien stepped closer to Eli. Hale raised his rifle and fired, but the shots bounced off the alien's thick armor like tiny sparks. The alien did not even flinch. Hale tried again, still nothing. Eli felt panic rising. The tall alien walked toward him, unstoppable and terrifying. The smaller aliens continued fighting the humans, keeping the defenders too busy to help. The honey badger growled deeply. It stood in front of Eli again, lowering its body and showing its teeth. The tall alien stopped a few feet away and stared at the creature. For the first time, something changed in its posture. It leaned forward slightly, curious. It had never seen a creature behave this way, not even from human records. The honey badger charged. It leaped toward the tall alien with incredible speed, but the alien moved faster. It caught the honey badger in midair with one hand, gripping it by the back of its neck. The creature struggled, biting and clawing, but the alien's grip tightened like metal. Eli screamed, "Let it go." The alien lifted the honey badger higher, examining it like an object. Its glowing eyes flickered as if analyzing the creature. It clicked softly, almost amused. The honey badger twisted its body, trying to reach the alien's arm with its teeth. But the alien held it too far away. Hale fired again. The shots did nothing. Eli felt something break inside him. His fear turned into something hotter, anger, helplessness, a burning desire to save the only creature that had protected him without hesitation. The tall alien turned its glowing eyes to Eli again. It lowered the honey badger slightly, still holding it tight. It stepped toward Eli with a clear intention. Eli backed up. "Please don't hurt him." The alien tilted its head. For a moment it almost seemed to understand his words. Then it tightened its grip on the honey badger again. The creature squealed in pain. Eli could not take it anymore. He ran forward, even though Hale shouted for him to stop. He ran straight toward the alien, toward the danger, toward the creature that wanted him. The alien paused, surprised by the boy's sudden bravery. Eli reached out, not knowing what he could do, only knowing he had to do something. And then behind them all, a massive explosion erupted from the human base, a signal that reinforcements had arrived. More soldiers, more vehicles, more weapons. The real fight for Aryan 3 had only just begun. The explosion behind the battlefield shook the desert like thunder. A wave of heat rolled across the sand, followed by a cloud of smoke rising into the sky. Human reinforcements had arrived, and they were coming fast. The alien soldiers paused for a moment, surprised by the sudden force from the human base. Some turned their heads, their glowing eyes narrowing as they analyzed the new threat. The tall alien holding the honey badger did not turn. Its attention stayed fixed on Eli, who stood only a few steps away. Eli felt heat from the explosion behind him, but he barely noticed. His eyes were locked on the honey badger struggling in the alien's hand. The creature's claws scraped the alien's armor, leaving small scratches but not enough to break free. The tall alien squeezed harder. The honey badger let out a sharp cry. Eli felt tears burn at the corners of his eyes. "Stop! Please stop!" The alien tilted its head, studying him again. It was trying to understand something about the boy, something deeper than just fear or resistance. It seemed almost curious, almost questioning. But then its hand tightened once more, and Eli saw the honey badger's body twist in pain. Commander Hale ran toward them, firing shot after shot. "Put the boy down, now!" he shouted, but the tall alien ignored him. Hale yelled to his team, "Aim for the joints. We need that thing away from the kid." The human soldiers tried, firing in coordinated bursts, but the alien's armor was too strong, too advanced. Their shots sparked against it like raindrops on steel. The tall alien did not even move. The honey badger's growl grew weaker. Eli couldn't watch anymore. He charged forward again, reaching toward the creature with desperate hands. Hale shouted for him to stop, but Eli didn't listen. All he could think about was saving the small animal that had saved him again and again. The tall alien raised its free hand, preparing to strike Eli away. But before its blow could land, another explosion burst from the opposite side of the battlefield. This one closer, louder, full of fire and metal. A human combat walker rose through the smoke, its mechanical legs slamming into the sand with heavy force. It was large, armored, and equipped with plasma cannons. The machine took aim at the alien forces and fired a barrage of blue energy bolts. Several smaller aliens flew backward, their armor shattered by the blast. The tall alien turned its head, finally distracted. This moment of distraction was all the honey badger needed. With a sudden burst of strength born from pain, fury, and pure defiance, it twisted sideways, sank its teeth deep into the alien's armored wrist, and bit down as hard as it could. The alien hissed in shock. The honey badger's bite forced it to loosen its grip for just a second. That was enough. The honey badger dropped to the ground, rolled once, and landed on its feet. It stumbled, clearly hurt, but it still positioned itself between Eli and the alien without hesitation. Eli rushed forward and grabbed the creature, pulling it close. The tall alien lowered its head and examined its own arm, where the honey badger's bite had left deep dents. No creature had ever damaged its armor before, not even humans. The tall alien clicked slowly, as if reassessing everything. Hale reached Eli and pulled him backward. "We have to move. Stay behind me." The combat walker continued firing, pushing the alien forces back and clearing a path. The human reinforcements arrived in full force, armored vehicles, soldiers in heavy suits, drones scanning the battlefield. The humans were no longer outmatched. The aliens realized this too. Their formation wavered. Some stepped back toward the ship. They were not afraid, but they were cautious. They had come expecting an easy mission. Now they faced resistance unlike anything they had planned for. The tall alien raised its hand high, signaling its soldiers. Green symbols flashed across their armor as they reorganized. The aliens began falling back toward their ship, not retreating but regrouping, preparing for a different strategy. Hale pushed Eli and the honey badger behind a cluster of rocks. "Stay low, stay quiet, don't move unless I say so." Eli held the honey badger close. Its breathing was fast and shallow, but its eyes were sharp. Eli brushed sand off its fur. "You saved me again," he whispered. The honey badger responded with a low, determined growl. Across the battlefield, the tall alien stepped forward again, this time without its soldiers. It walked directly toward the humans, stopping just far enough not to be shot on sight. Hale and the other soldiers aimed their rifles, but the alien did nothing aggressive. Instead, it pointed at Eli. The soldiers tensed. Hale narrowed his eyes. "Why him? What do you want with a child?" The tall alien clicked softly. Its voice was low, vibrating through the air. It said something in its own language, sharp, rhythmic, cold. The human translator device struggled to understand. Static buzzed, words glitched. Then, finally, it produced a rough translation. "Human evolution, unknown threat, remove early." Eli froze. Hale felt anger surge inside him. "He's a child, he's no threat to anyone." The alien tilted its head again, the glowing eyes unblinking. It pointed at the honey badger neck. The alien ship lifted off the ground slowly, rising through a swirl of dust as its engines rumbled across the desert. Humans watched from behind their defensive vehicles, waiting for another attack. But this time, the aliens did not fire. They rose into the sky like a silent threat, their glowing ship disappearing into the thick clouds above Arian 3. The battlefield quieted. Only the faint crackle of damaged machines and the weak groans of shifting metal filled the air. Commander Hale lowered his rifle, but his eyes stayed locked on the sky. He did not trust the silence. He could feel something larger building, something that the alien leader had begun but not yet finished. Eli sat inside the transport vehicle, holding the honey badger in his lap. The creature was breathing hard, each breath sharp and shaky, but it refused to rest. Its eyes stayed alert, watching every shadow. Eli stroked its fur gently. "You're hurt," he whispered. "I'm sorry, I should have protected you." The honey badger nudged his hand with its nose, as if telling him it wasn't his fault. Even injured, it still acted like the bravest creature alive. Eli wrapped his arms around it carefully, afraid to cause more pain. Hale climbed into the transport and sat across from Eli. Dust covered his armor and his expression was tense. He studied the boy for a long moment. "Eli, why were you so far out from the base?" Eli looked down. "I was exploring, I didn't think anything could happen, and then I saw him." He looked at the honey badger. He wasn't attacking, he wasn't scared, he was just there. And then everything changed. Hale sighed heavily. "This wasn't your fault, Eli. The aliens came here with a purpose." Eli swallowed. "They said I'm dangerous." Hale stiffened. "No, they don't understand humans. They don't understand our strength or our potential. They fear what they don't understand. That's why they came for you." Eli hugged the honey badger tighter. "Why would they be afraid of me? I'm just a kid." Hale didn't answer immediately. He looked out the window toward the sky. Sometimes a small thing becomes something big. They think your bond with this creature means something. They think it shows power. Eli blinked. Power. Hale nodded slowly. Courage attracts courage. Loyalty attracts loyalty. You protected him and he protected you. Aliens don't have relationships like that. They don't understand how strong humans become when they care about something. Eli didn't know what to say, but a small warmth filled his chest. He looked down at the honey badger, whose eyes remained fierce even while resting. The transport drove toward the base, passing broken machines, destroyed research pods, and scorch marks from the earlier battle. The humans at the outpost worked quickly to repair damage and support their wounded. The moment Eli stepped out of the transport, several medics rushed to the honey badger. One medic knelt beside him. "Let me help him, Eli." Eli shook his head fiercely. "Please be gentle." "We will," the medic promised. As they lifted the honey badger onto a small stretcher, the creature growled weakly but didn't resist. It kept its eyes on Eli until the very last moment before it was moved into the medical tent. Eli's chest tightened with worry. Hale placed a hand on his shoulder. "We'll save him." Eli nodded, though fear still pressed against his heart. Hours passed as the humans rebuilt defenses around the base. Soldiers scanned the sky. Drones patrolled the perimeter. Engineers tightened shield generators and checked communication systems. Everyone knew the aliens had not left. They had only changed their plan. Inside the base, Eli sat alone near the window, watching the sky grow darker. He thought about everything that had happened, the attacks, the alien leader, the strange words translated by the machine. Future risk, eliminate. Why him? What made him a risk? He barely understood himself. How could aliens from a distant galaxy understand him better? The door behind him opened. Commander Hale entered, his face even more serious than before. "We have a problem," he said quietly. Eli turned. "What's happening?" Hale walked toward him and sat down. "We intercepted a transmission from the alien mothership. They're not leaving the system. They're gathering something." "Gathering what?" Eli whispered. "More soldiers, more weapons, more support. They didn't expect resistance here. Now they want to finish the job." Eli felt a cold shiver. "They're coming back for me." Hale didn't hide the truth. "Yes." Eli looked out the window again. "I don't understand why." Hale exhaled. "They think humans will become too strong. They see you as a symbol of something they can't control. You formed a bond with a creature that fought an army for you. To them, that's impossible, maybe even terrifying." Eli blinked slowly, absorbing his words. "But I didn't do anything special." "Sometimes," Hale said softly, "the smallest actions echo the loudest." A message suddenly played through the base speakers. "Commander Hale, you need to see this." Hale stood quickly and motioned for Eli to follow. They rushed to the command room, filled with screens, scanners, and officers typing fast. One main screen displayed the sky above Arian 3. A ripple of green light pulsed across it, forming a pattern like a giant eye watching the planet. "What is that?" Eli whispered. An officer answered without looking up. "A targeting system. They're marking something on the surface." Eli looked at Hale, panic rising. "They're marking me, aren't they?" Hale clenched his fists. "Get the shields up to full power. Prepare evacuation routes. We need to keep Eli safe at all costs." The officers moved instantly. Then another alert flashed, this one from the medical tent. "Commander Hale," a medic called through the speaker. "You need to come here, it's about the creature." Eli felt his heart drop. "The honey badger, is he okay?" The medic hesitated. "Yes, but something strange is happening. You both need to see it." Eli ran toward the medical tent, fear and hope fighting inside him. If the honey badger was changing. If the aliens were afraid of its bond with him. Then something powerful, something unexpected, was beginning to awaken on Aryan 3. And neither humans nor aliens understood what it meant yet. Eli rushed into the medical tent, his heart pounding fast in his chest. The honey badger lay on a padded table under warm lights. Medics had cleaned its wounds, bandaged its side, and given it fluids. But that wasn't why they had called Hale and Eli inside. The honey badger's fur was changing. It shimmered faintly, like tiny sparks of silver light running along each strand. Its breathing was steady now, not weak like before. The creature lifted its head slowly when Eli entered, and its eyes glowed with a strange, soft brightness. Eli moved closer. "Buddy, what's happening to you?" The honey badger didn't growl. Instead, it leaned into Eli's hand as if trying to comfort him. Even in this confusing moment, its only concern was the boy. One medic stepped toward Hale. "Commander, we scanned the creature. Something inside it is reacting to the alien energy pulses from earlier. It's not changing into something else, but something inside it is awakening. Something dormant." Hale frowned. "Dormant, what does that mean?" "We don't know, but this creature is stronger now, much stronger." Eli looked at Hale with wide eyes. "Is that why the aliens are scared?" Hale took a slow breath. "Maybe the aliens think your bond awakens something they can't predict or control." Before anyone could say more, a base-wide alarm screamed through the speakers. The ground shook under their feet. Officers shouted orders from the command room. Hale turned sharply. "That's them, they're here." Eli felt the honey badger push itself up. It wobbled at first but then stood firm. Its new strength glowed in its eyes. Hale knelt in front of Eli. "Listen to me, they want you, they think you're dangerous, but you're not alone, we're going to protect you, all of us." Eli swallowed hard. "I'm not leaving him." Hale nodded. "He's not leaving you either." The base shook again as the alien mothership descended from the clouds. This time it didn't stay high above the planet. It pushed lower and lower until its massive shadow covered almost the entire base. Soldiers aimed their weapons. Shield generators powered up with a loud hum. Eli stepped outside with the honey badger beside him. The sky looked split in half by the alien ship. A beam of green energy formed at its center, aimed directly at the base. The alien leader, the tall one with bone-like armor, appeared on a floating platform as it descended from the mothership. It landed on the sand with a heavy thud. Behind it, dozens of alien soldiers formed ranks, their glowing eyes all fixed on Eli. The tall alien stepped forward. It pointed at the boy again. The translator crackled, then produced a clearer message this time. "The child must be removed. He carries the spark." The creature responds, "This future cannot be allowed." Eli stepped forward with the honey badger. His voice shook but did not break. "I'm not dangerous, I'm just trying to live." The alien tilted its head but seemed unmoved. Hale shouted back at it. "You fear what you don't understand. Humans fight for what they care about. You can't break that." The alien raised one hand, preparing to send another energy pulse. The green light built in its palm, brighter and brighter. The honey badger stepped in front of Eli, its fur shining with a strange silver-blue light. The creature growled deeply, louder than before, its voice echoing through the desert like something far bigger than itself. Eli felt a warm glow spread from the honey badger's side into his hands. The two of them shared something, a connection that neither fully understood. The honey badger's strength filled him, and his courage strengthened the creature in return. The alien leader released its energy attack. The beam shot toward Eli. But before it could strike, the honey badger charged forward with impossible speed. Light trailed behind it like a streak of silver fire. The creature slammed into the beam, absorbing part of its force, and then leaped straight toward the alien leader. The impact shook the ground. The alien staggered backward for the first time since landing on the planet. Soldiers gasped. Humans shouted in shock. The honey badger landed, growling with power that made even the alien foot soldiers step back. Eli ran to its side, feeling the strange, glowing warmth pulsing through his hands. "We can do this," he whispered. The alien leader recovered and aimed its weapon again. Eli and the honey badger stood together. Human soldiers formed a defensive wall behind them. The alien leader charged. Hale fired first, striking its armor at the same moment the honey badger leaped again. The alien swung its arm to strike, but Eli shouted, "Move left." The honey badger dodged at the exact moment Eli spoke, as if it had known his thoughts. The creature attacked the alien's legs, biting deep into a joint in the armor. Sparks flew. The alien roared in frustration, swinging wildly. Eli darted back, Hale pulling him out of danger. "Stay with me." But Eli shook his head. I have to help him. The alien leader charged for Eli again. It raised its weapon high. The honey badger leaped in front of the boy, claws shining with silver light. It struck the alien's arm with such force that the weapon flew out of its hand. The alien stumbled. Eli felt the bond between them grow stronger. He stepped forward, not away. He shouted with all the courage inside him, "Leave us alone." The air shook. A shockwave burst outward, not from the honey badger, not from the alien leader, but from the connection between Eli and the creature. A glowing dome of light formed around them, pushing the alien leader back. The alien soldiers froze. Their leader dropped to one knee, confused by the energy. Hale stepped forward with his soldiers. This ends now. The humans unleashed a full barrage of fire, hitting the alien ranks in a coordinated strike. The aliens stumbled, their formation cracking. The alien leader looked between Eli and the honey badger, finally realizing it could not win. It retreated toward its platform. The translator spoke one last time. "The spark has awakened. We cannot stop it. We withdraw for now." The alien platform rose into the air. The mothership pulled back into the clouds, leaving the planet slowly, silently. The battlefield grew quiet again. Eli dropped to his knees, exhausted. The honey badger rested its head on his lap, breathing hard but alive. Hale knelt beside them and placed a gentle hand on Eli's shoulder. "You did it," Hale said softly. "Both of you." Eli looked down at the honey badger. "We did it together." The soldiers around them lowered their weapons. Relief spread across the base like warm sunlight after a storm. The aliens had left. The boy was safe. And the honey badger, small, fierce, loyal, had become something legendary. Eli hugged the creature close, whispering, "Thank you for protecting me." The honey badger let out a soft growl full of pride. Humans had won not through strength alone, but through bond, courage, and something the galaxy still didn't understand.